Okay, we're going to review polynomial division. All polynomial division is division between two polynomials. So I have x squared minus 9x minus 10 being divided by x minus 1. Now this polynomial division is going to be very similar to our long division. So I'm going to take what I am dividing, which is x squared minus 9x minus 10, and I'm going to go ahead and divide that whole thing by x minus 1. Now if I look here, it's just like long division. Long division, I have a problem that looks like this. Let's say I'm dividing 412 by 3. What I want to do is I want to say how many times does 3 go into 4? Well, that's 1 time, so I do 1 times 3. Gives me 3, subtract 1, carry down my 1. 3 goes into 11 3 times. That's 9. Subtract, I've got a 2. And I bring down, I would have 22. It goes into it 7 times. 21. I've got a remainder of 1. So my answer would be 137 and 1/3. I'm going to leave this up here just for reference. We probably won't need it though. If I look at it, so I've got this x squared term. I want to see how many times x goes into x squared. Or what can I multiply x by to get x squared? Answer to that would be x. Now I want to put that above my x column here. These are in line. I've got my x squared column, my x column, my constant column. So I'm going to put that above my x column. Now I'm going to multiply this x by both x over here and negative 1. X times x is x squared. X times negative 1 is negative 1x. Now just like division, I'm going to subtract. X squared minus x squared gives me 0. Negative 9 minus negative 1 will give me negative 9 plus 1, which will give me a negative 8x. Okay, so that's our first step here. Now, just like division, I'm going to go back through and we're going to say, okay, how many times does, or actually, I'm sorry, one more step is I've got to bring down my minus 10. Now I can look at this and I can say, okay, I've got x minus 1. How many times does x minus 1 go into negative 8x? Or, what I like to say is, what can I multiply x by to make it look like negative 8x? Well, I can multiply it by a negative 8. Negative 8 times x gives me a negative 8x. Negative 8 times negative 1 gives me a positive 8. If I subtract those terms, negative 8x minus negative 8x gives me a 0. Negative 10 minus positive 10 gives me a negative 18. We could see there's nothing else to bring down here, so that's going to be my remainder. I'm sorry. So my answer is going to be x minus 8 with a remainder of negative 18. So I'm going to put my negative 18 and I'm going to put it over top of this divisor, just like I did when I was dividing by 3. Okay, so that's kind of stepped out for us. Let's look at one more example. This one takes a little bit more work ahead of time just to get it set up. So if I look at this, we'll notice this polynomial, I've got x to the third minus 30x minus 18 minus 4x squared divided by 3 plus x. This one we got to do a little bit of setup work here. First things first, we want to put this in order of how those polynomials, those exponents, so that they're in order from the largest to the smallest. So I'll have x to the third minus 4x squared minus 30x minus 18. Now I'm going to divide this by, and I'm going to change this around too so it looks better for us, x plus 3. So I have my leading exponent term coming first there as well. Now I've got to do the same exact thing. What can I do to x to make it look like x to the third? I can multiply it by x squared. I'm going to put that over top of my x squared column. X squared times x is x to the third. X squared times 3 is positive 3x squared. And I do my subtraction. X to the third minus x to the third is 0. Negative 4x squared minus positive 3x squared is negative 7x squared. Alright, now I want to bring down my negative 30x. So I'll bring down negative 30x. How can I make an x look like a negative 7x squared? Well, I can multiply it by negative 7x. Again, it's in my x column here. Negative 7x times x is negative 7x squared. Negative 7x times positive 3 is a negative 21x. I do my subtraction here. Negative 7x minus negative 7x is 0. Negative 30 minus negative 21, that'll be like adding a 21x, will give me a negative 9x remaining. So I'm going to bring down my 18 now, and this should be my final go around. Okay, so I've got to find what will make x look like negative 9x. Well, if I just multiply it by a negative 9, I should be good. Negative 9 times x is negative 9x. Negative 9 times positive 3 is negative 27. And now I'm going to subtract one last time. My x terms will cancel out. I've got a 0. Looks like I'm going to have a remainder this time. Negative 18 minus negative 27, that means we're going to add. Looks like I'm going to have a remainder of a positive 9. So my answer here is going to be x squared minus 7x minus 9, and then I've got to put my remainder on there, which is a positive 9. Oops, sorry about that. Positive 9 over my x plus 3. I don't like the way that looks, so I'm going to change that 9 real quick to make it look more like a 9. There we go. So we're going to get x squared minus 7x minus 9 plus 9 over x plus 3.